Ryan Keller sat alone in his tiny corner office on the 89th floor of the Galactic Registration Department. His job was simple: read papers, approve forms, stamp files, and repeat. It wasn't exciting, but it paid enough to survive in Sector 12 of New Earth's capital zone. The ceiling lights flickered as usual, and the coffee in his cup had gone cold hours ago. The room smelled like recycled air and dust. Around him were tall stacks of digital printouts and glowing tablets, all waiting for attention. Most of them were boring birth records of alien species, transport licenses, trade permits between colonies. Ryan didn't even read most of them carefully anymore. He just stamped and filed them into the system. But tonight was different. At exactly 2:13 a.m., something strange happened. One of the files on his desk began to glow, out just the screen. But the actual paper, it wasn't warm. But the glow was soft and pulsing, like a heartbeat. He leaned forward, eyebrows furrowed, and picked it up. The file didn't have any department code, no species identifier, and no sender's name. Only 2 words were typed at the top: final contract, and under that, his name, Ryan Keller, executor. He frowned. Executor? Of what? He mumbled. He checked the filing system, but the ID number on the paper didn't exist. It wasn't in the human or alien registry. There was no record of it ever being submitted or created. It was like the file appeared out of thin air. Probably some intern playing games. He sighed, thinking someone in the tech division was bored and trying to scare him. Ryan was used to being the butt of jokes. He didn't have friends at work, and he barely talked to anyone outside the office. He had no family left. Just a job and a quiet apartment with broken lights and old music discs. Out of habit, he grabbed his stamp, rolled it into ink, and pressed it onto the glowing paper. Approved as soon as the stamp touched the page. The entire office went silent completely. Silent, the hum of the machines, the flickering lights, the ventilation all stopped. Ryan looked around, confused. Hello? He called out. Then the file burned, not in flames, but it turned into light. Golden and blue, rising like smoke, and disappeared into the air. A second later, a mark appeared on the back of his hand. Glowing the same color as the file, it looked like a symbol, part triangle, part eye, part star. It pulsed once. Then a voice spoke, not aloud, but inside his head. You have accepted the contract. Executor, preparation begins now. Ryan jumped from his chair, knocking over a pile of tablets. He grabbed his hand and tried rubbing the mark away, but it wouldn't move. It was part of his skin now. He stumbled back from his desk, heart racing. No, no, no. What the hell is this? He gasped. The walls of his office began to fade, turning transparent, then into mist. Slowly, his desk, his chair, even the floor vanished beneath his feet. And Ryan found himself floating in a vast, dark space. Stars twinkling around him. Gravity didn't exist here, but somehow he didn't fall or float away. He was just suspended. A shape appeared in front of him, a glowing circular structure like a gate. It opened slowly, light pouring out from within. Ryan turned to run. There was nowhere to run. Space stretched endlessly around him, and the voice returned. Executor. Ryan Keller, step forward. The fate of entire systems depends on your actions. He didn't understand. He was just a clerk, not a hero, not a soldier. He didn't know how to fight, didn't even have a weapon. He reviewed paperwork, he filed complaints, he drank cold coffee and watched reruns of old Earth shows on the weekend. Why him? He shook his head. There's a mistake. I just signed a file. I didn't mean to, but the portal pulled him forward. As he passed through the ring of light, his body felt heavy, then light, then nothing at all. His vision blurred, his ears rang, and the mark on his hand glowed brighter than ever before. Before he blacked out, he heard one last sentence whispered into his mind. You were chosen because no one else would read the fine print, *Ryans. Eyes opened slowly. His body felt weightless, but his heart was heavy like a stone. He wasn't in his office anymore. There were no walls, no desk, no coffee mug. Only a giant glass-like floor beneath him, and endless stars above. He sat up with a groan, blinking at the strange brightness. The floor under him was smooth and glowing slightly, like the inside of a high-tech alien structure. Around him floated glowing screens, transparent and changing. Shapes, some showed rotating alien symbols. Others showed unknown planets, ships, and creatures he had never seen before. Then he saw the mark on his hand again, still glowing softly, still there like a brand executor. "Ryan Keller," said a robotic voice behind him. He jumped and turned around. A tall humanoid robot stood there, shiny silver with glowing blue eyes. Its face was smooth, with no mouth. But it spoke with perfect clarity. "Welcome to the Central Contract Hub," it said. "You have signed the Galactic Oath. You are now bound to 7 tasks. Ryan shook his head, backing away. "No. I didn't mean to sign anything," I thought. It was a joke. I was at work. It was just a paper. The robot tilted its head. "Intent is irrelevant. The contract was accepted. The oath has been registered, and the system has recognized your commitment." Before Ryan could argue, a massive screen lit up in the air, showing Earth. Then hundreds of red dots started appearing all over the map, each one pulsing. "These," the robot said, "are observer drones. They are now watching your planet." Ryan's eyes widened. "Why? Why are you watching Earth?" "Because failure to complete your assigned tasks will result in planetary containment," it replied. "Containment." Ryan repeated, heart racing. "Locked trade, communication, blackouts, energy collapse." And in worst-case scenarios, biological isolation. Ryan's legs gave way, and he fell to his knees. "You're saying if I don't do these missions, Earth will suffer?" "That is correct," the robot said calmly. "Do you accept your duties as executor?" Ryan stared at the ground, sweat forming on his forehead. He didn't have a choice. He could scream, cry, or argue, but nothing would change the fact that he had been pulled into something huge. He stood slowly and whispered, "Fine, I'll do it. What's the first task?" The robot raised a hand, and the screen changed again. 2 alien races appeared, both with long histories of war. The first species had rocky armor-like skin, fire in their eyes, and thick limbs. They were called the Brannick. The second were tall, thin, and had bright glowing eyes like stars. They were called the Elyari. "Your first task is to negotiate peace between the Brannick and the Elyari," the robot said. "They have been at war for over 200 years. Millions have died." Ryan blinked. "You want me to stop a 200-year war?" "Yes," the robot answered simply. Ryan ran his hand through his hair. "But I'm just a clerk, not a diplomat." "You are human," the robot said, "and that is why you were chosen. Humans are unpredictable, adaptable, emotional, and, most importantly, they do not follow patterns." Another screen opened, showing a location called Veltora, a desert planet under triple suns. It was home to the Brannick royal court. Ryan's mission would begin there. Suddenly, a strange glowing suit formed around Ryan's body, smooth and flexible, with a circular emblem over his chest, the same mark that was on his hand. His clothes vanished into particles, replaced by the advanced armor. "Your body is protected. Oxygen, language translation, and environmental adjustment are active," the robot explained. "You will be sent to Veltora now." Ryan felt a sharp pull, like a vacuum grabbing his entire body. A portal of white and blue opened below him, and before he could scream, he was falling into it the moment he landed. Sand flew up around him. The heat hit him instantly, dry and sharp. The sky above had 3 suns, and the ground was burning hot. Alien towers made of black stone stood in the distance, sharp and tall like blades. Guards in thick armor approached him, aiming strange weapons at his chest. One of them barked something in a language Ryan couldn't understand, but the suit translated instantly, "Who enters the sacred grounds of the Brannock without summon?" Ryan raised his hands. "I come in peace. I was sent by the contract. I have a message for your rulers." The guards lowered their weapons slightly when they saw the glowing emblem on his chest. One of them pressed a button on his wrist, and a buzzing sound filled the air. A new figure appeared, a woman, tall and fierce, her skin made of golden stone, her eyes glowing like magma. She wore a crown of metal and flame. "I am Princess Valari of the Brannock," she said in a powerful voice. "You are the human executor they speak of." Ryan nodded nervously. "Yes, and I'm here to offer peace." The princess laughed coldly. "Then you are a fool. Human peace has no place in our history." Ryan looked into her eyes, heart pounding, and whispered, "Maybe, but maybe your history needs a new chapter." She narrowed her eyes, the wind blowing around them. The mission had begun. Ryan stood under the burning suns of Veltora. His new suit adjusted the temperature, but he still felt the pressure of the moment. Around him, Brannock guards watched closely, their heavy boots leaving deep marks in the sand. They didn't trust him, and the Princess Valari looked at him like he was some strange insect. Princess Valari turned and walked toward a sharp stone tower. Her voice echoed as she said, "Follow me, human. If you speak of peace, you will speak it before the council." Ryan followed silently. His boots sank into the hot sand as they entered the fortress. Inside, the walls were carved with ancient symbols, glowing faintly. The air was heavy with smoke and heat. Soldiers lined the halls, silent and strong, watching his every move. The council room was a massive circle of stone. 12 Brannock elders sat on high chairs, each one with armor heavier than a car. They looked powerful and angry. Valari raised her hand and spoke to them in their native tongue. Ryan's suit translated quietly in his ear. "This is the human executor, bearer of the contract," she said. "He brings words of peace between our people and the cursed Elyar." A murmur spread across the chamber. One of the elders stood, his voice deep like thunder. "Why should we listen to a weak fleshling from a dying world?" Ryan stepped forward, his heart pounding, "Because war has cost you too much. Your warriors are strong, but your children grow up in ashes. Your future is buried in graves." Another elder growled, "You dare speak to us of loss? You are not one of us. You know nothing." Ryan took a breath and looked at Valari. "Then let me learn. Let me see what you see. Let me feel what you feel. Only then can I offer something real." Valari's eyes narrowed. She was not expecting that. The room fell quiet. Then she turned to the elders. "Give him the trial of blood and ash. If he survives, he will have earned our ears." One of the elders laughed. "He will not survive the hour." Ryan didn't know what the trial was, but the word blood didn't sound friendly. 2 guards grabbed him and led him through a long hallway into a chamber filled with dark smoke. In the center was a pit wide round and glowing with red cracks. Something growled below. A voice spoke from the shadows. "To understand our pain, you must face it. Enter the pit and survive until the suns align." Ryan looked into the pit and saw it, a creature chained to the floor, its body made of fire and stone. Its eyes locked onto his. It was called a flare beast, a symbol of the Brannock's greatest loss. Once used in war, now only summoned for trials. Ryan stepped forward. "If I die, who saves Earth?" he whispered to himself. Then he jumped in. The heat hit him instantly. The flare beast roared. Pulling against its chains, Ryan rolled to the side, barely avoiding the swipe of its burning claws. His suit screamed with warnings. Temperature exceeding limits, but it held. He didn't try to fight. He knew he couldn't win that way. Instead, he dodged, moved, and watched the creature's behavior. He noticed something. Its right leg was injured. It limped every time it moved. Ryan began to mimic its movement. Limping slightly, the creature paused, confused. Ryan dropped his weapon and raised both hands. Slowly, he took off his helmet, showing his face. Sweaty and scared. "I'm not here to fight," Ryan said. "I know you're angry. I know you hurt. So do I." The flare beast growled low, but stopped attacking. Instead, it sniffed the air. Then slowly backed away. Sitting down, the crowd above gasped. The trial master stepped forward and declared, "The human has passed. The beast did not kill him." And he did not kill the beast. Ryan collapsed on the floor, gasping for breath, but alive. He was pulled out of the pit, his suit nearly burned through. Back in the council room, the elders were silent. Valari looked at him with new eyes. Not respect, not yet, but something close to curiosity. "You faced our oldest pain and did not run," she said quietly. "That makes you braver than many Brannock." Ryan stood tall, though his legs shook. "I'm not your enemy. I don't want your lands, your pride, or your traditions. I just want the war to end before everything burns." One of the elders grunted. "Perhaps. We will listen, but only if the Elyari will speak too." Valari turned, her voice sharp again. "Then let the human carry our message to them." Ryan blinked. "You want me to go there now?" She nodded. "Yes, if you survive their court." 2. Maybe peace can begin. As he was escorted out, Ryan whispered to himself, "What kind of office job did I sign up for?" And somewhere in the stars, the contract glowed brighter on his skin. Asterisk, the moment Ryan stepped out of the Brannock Tower, the air around him felt different. It wasn't just the dry heat or the burning suns above. Something had changed. There was tension, like invisible eyes watching him from every direction. Princess Valari walked beside him, her voice calm but sharp. "You passed the trial, human, but not everyone wants peace," she said. "Some of my people, and some of yours, prefer war." Ryan looked at her, still weak from the heat and exhaustion. "But why? Isn't peace better for everyone?" Valari narrowed her eyes. "Peace is bad for those who profit from pain." They reached the outer platform where the Brannock sky shuttles waited. Ryan was about to step onto one when a sudden blast echoed. Through the air, a sharp crack from a sniper shot hit the ground near his foot. Smoke rising from the stone, guards immediately formed a wall in front of him. Valari shouted orders, but it was too late. An attack had begun. More shots rained down from the cliffs nearby. Brannock soldiers fired back, shielding Ryan. His suit activated a protective dome just in time. The symbol of the contract on his chest glowed bright, pulsing like a warning. "Assassins," Valari hissed, pulling Ryan behind a wall. "They are not Brannock. They are outsiders. Hidden agents who want the mission to fail." Ryan ducked low, heart racing. "So, not everyone wants the war to end. Some want you dead before you speak to the Elyari." Valari said grimly, "They fear change, they fear you." Explosions rocked the platform. The 2 shuttles were destroyed before takeoff. Soldiers fell. Smoke rose, and Ryan coughed from the dust. He had never been in a real battle before. This wasn't a movie or a training sim, this was survival. Suddenly, a small drone flew down from the sky, flashing blue. It hovered in front of him and projected a hologram. It was the robotic assistant from the contract hub. "Zeva, Executor Ryan Keller. Your life is in danger. Evacuation is required. New route calculated. Follow the drone." Valari turned to him, blood running from a cut on her forehead. Asterisk, asterisk, go. "Human, we will fight them off here. You must reach the Elyar." Ryan hesitated. "But go," she shouted, pushing him forward. He followed the drone, running through a side tunnel. footsteps echoing behind him. The walls shook from distant blasts, but he kept moving. The drone led him into a deep underground chamber where a small transport pod waited, shaped like a silver egg. As soon as he stepped in, the pod sealed shut, and the world outside vanished. Stars filled the window as it launched straight into the sky. Far away from Beltora, Ryan collapsed into the seat, gasping for breath. The glowing screen in front of him showed his destination, Nelyara Prime, home of the ancient and mysterious Elyari race. Then Zed's voice returned. But it sounded different this time. More serious, more personal. Executor, you are now marked by more than just the contract, it said. Asterisk, asterisk, you are marked by those who want the system broken. Ryan wiped sweat from his forehead. Who are they? A hidden group called the Unbinders. They believe the contract is slavery. They want to destroy it and everything connected to it, including you. Ryan leaned back in the seat. I didn't sign up for this. I just wanted to finish my shift, maybe eat a sandwich. Your signature awakened ancient systems. You are not a random choice, Ziva replied. Asterisk, asterisk, you were chosen because your records showed you always did the right thing even when no one was watching. Ryan didn't respond. His mind was spinning. He had gone from office worker to galaxy target in a matter of days. Assassins, alien royalty, and now secret enemies called Unbinders, and all because of one glowing file. Suddenly, alarms beeped in the pod. Warning, tracking signal. Detected, Ryan sat up. Are we being followed? Yes, hostile ship approaching. Initiating evasive maneuvers, the pod began spinning. Diving through asteroid fields, Ryan was thrown against the seat, gravity fighting him with every twist. Out the window, he saw a dark ship chasing them, covered in jagged metal and firing blue plasma blasts. One of the blasts struck the pod's rear engine. A jolt of electricity cracked through the air. Lights flickered. Zev's voice glitched. Elyara Prime arrival in 30 seconds. Brace for crash landing. The pod entered the planet's atmosphere like a shooting star. Fire licking the outside as the clouds rushed past. Ryan held onto his seat, teeth clenched, eyes wide. The land below came into view. Green mountains, crystal lakes, and tall glowing towers of Elyari design. The pod hit the ground hard, bounced twice, then rolled into a lake. Water exploded around him as the pod sank slowly. Alarms ringing in every direction, Ryan kicked the door open and swam to the surface, coughing, gasping, but alive as he crawled onto the shore. The mark on his hand glowed again, brighter than before. A soft, musical voice echoed from the trees. You are not welcome here, human, it said. Why have you come? Ryan looked up, soaked and bruised, and whispered, because I'm trying to stop a war. Ryan lay on the glowing shore of Elyara Prime, breathing heavily. His body ached from the crash. His suit was torn, and his mind raced with questions. The sky above was different, purple and calm, filled with floating jellyfish-like lights. The air smelled like flowers and ozone, soft and strange, but peace didn't last long. From behind the glowing trees came figures, tall and elegant, their skin silver blue, their eyes glowed softly, and their robes flowed like water. These were the Elyari, one of the galaxy's oldest races, known for their silence, power, and cold logic. The lead figure stepped forward, a woman with a crown of light and a staff that pulsed with energy. I am Elia, speaker of the Mindfold, she said, her voice smooth but sharp. You entered our skies uninvited, and you carry the mark. Ryan stood slowly, showing his hands, the glowing contract symbol still bright. I didn't come to attack, I came to talk. I carry a message from the Brannock. Whispers moved through the group behind her. One Elyari stepped forward, his eyes narrowed. The Brannock sent you. A human. Ryan nodded. Yes, they agreed to talk peace, but only if you would listen. Elia studied him for a long moment, then motioned to the others. Asterisk, asterisk, take him to the thought mirror. If he lies, it will show us. Ryan was escorted through glowing paths into a tall silver spire that hummed with energy. Inside, he stood in the middle of a circle of light, and Elia raised her staff. Speak your truth, Executor. Ryan told them everything, from the moment he signed the glowing file to his trial with the Brannock, the assassination attempt, and the escape through the stars. He didn't leave anything out, not even his fear, as he spoke. Images appeared around him, real, floating memories from his mind. The Elyari watched silently, their faces unreadable. When he finished, Elia lowered her staff. He tells the truth, she said. Asterisk, asterisk, but he is unaware of what he truly carries. Ryan frowned. What do you mean? I carried the contract. Elia stepped closer, her voice lowering. Asterisk, asterisk, the contract is more than a document. It is a seed. Ryan blinked. A seed? Asterisk, asterisk, yes, she said. It was created long ago by the Arbiter's beings who kept balance in the galaxy. They disappeared, but the contract remained, hidden, waiting for someone to sign it. Ryan took a step back, confused. But why me? I'm just a clerk. I stamp papers. I drink cold coffee. I'm not some hero. Elia touched her fingers to his forehead, and his vision filled with light. He saw images, flashes of the past, beings made of stardust, great wars, planets saved by strange, glowing warriors. Each one had the same symbol on their chest, the mark he now carried. You were chosen because you were invisible, she said. Asterisk, asterisk, you lived with no greed, no hunger for power. You were neutral. Ryan laughed bitterly. So I was chosen because I was boring. Asterisk, asterisk, no, she replied. Because you were honest when no one watched. You signed something no one else saw, and that act awakened the sleeping code inside the contract. Ryan looked at his hand, the mark now pulsing slowly like a heartbeat. So what happens if I finish all 7 tasks? Elia's expression darkened. Then you must decide, will you restart the Arbiter system, or destroy it forever? Before Ryan could answer, alarms rang through the tower. Elyari guards rushed in with glowing weapons. We're under attack, someone shouted. Asterisk, asterisk, unknown ships breaching the sky. Ryan ran to the window, seeing dark, jagged ships falling. Through the clouds and binders, he recognized their shape. The same ones that chased his pod. Explosions echoed across the valley. Blue and red flames bursting through Elyar towers. Elia turned to him. Asterisk, asterisk, they followed you? Ryan's stomach dropped. They want to kill me, destroy the contract, stop the mission. Asterisk, asterisk, then you must leave. Now, Elia said, handing him a small crystal. Take this to the Mirror Archive. Only there will you find the final truth of the contract. Ryan grabbed it. Where is it? Asterisk, asterisk, deep inside the ruins of the first Arbiter Temple on a dead planet called Selnar. Ryan turned to run, but Elia called out. Asterisk, asterisk, you cannot go alone. Take her. From the shadows stepped a younger Elyari woman, quiet and fierce. Her eyes glowed blue, and her hair shimmered like starlight. Asterisk, asterisk, this is Lyrian, my daughter, Elia said. She knows the old ways. She will guide you. Ryan looked at the girl, then at the burning sky outside, and sighed. All right, let's go. Before they burned this place down too, as they ran through secret tunnels beneath the city. The contract symbol on his chest glowed brighter, and, for the first time, it pulsed in rhythm with another symbol on Lyrian's hand. Asterisk, the tunnels under Elyara Prime shook with every blast. Ryan and Lyrian ran through glowing halls lined with old tech and ancient writing. Behind them, the screams of war filled the air. The Unbinders had come in full force, not just to destroy the Elyari but to erase the contract from history. Ryan clutched the crystal Elia had given him, Its light pulsed with purpose, pulling him toward a destination he had never seen: Salnar, a dead planet lost in forgotten records. But deep in its ruins lay the Mirror Archive, the only place that could reveal the true power of the contract. Lyrian moved ahead, silent but alert. She had been trained in the way of Ikoza, path of thought, memory, and motion. She could read energy trails and predict paths like shadows in the dark. But even she looked tense. "We don't have much time," she said, as they reached the hidden launch chamber beneath the tower. Asterisk, asterisk, if the El Yari capital falls, the balance will break. Ryan nodded. "I never asked for this, you know." "The contract never chooses who asks," Lyrian replied, typing in coordinates. Asterisk, asterisk, it chooses who is needed. Their small stealth ship rose from the ground and burst through a waterfall of light, heading straight into space. Behind them, Eliara Prime shrunk in the distance, fire and smoke swirling over its once peaceful forests and cities. Ryan looked out the window, his voice soft. "If we fail, what happens?" "Then 5 empires fall into war," Lyrian answered, "and Earth will be next." The journey to Salnar took only hours, thanks to ancient warp gates hidden in the stars. As they entered the orbit of the lost planet, Ryan saw a dark world covered in cracks, storms, and broken moons. The surface was gray and lifeless. But somewhere deep below was the Mirror Archive, the final key to understanding the contract. The ship landed near a massive pit surrounded by stone statues, each one holding a glowing crystal. The wind howled like whispers, and the air tasted like old electricity. Lyrian led the way, her fingers glowing as she activated the doors with her mark. The entrance opened with a heavy groan, revealing steps leading into the dark. They descended in silence, deeper and deeper, until the walls began to hum with ancient energy. Lines of blue light moved across the stone, forming symbols Ryan couldn't read. But one word appeared clearly in front of him: Arbiter. "This is it," Lyrian whispered. Asterisk, asterisk, the place where the first contract was written. In the center of the chamber stood a mirror taller than a ship. But its surface wasn't glass, was liquid silver, alive and moving. The moment Ryan stepped forward, the mark on his hand glowed brighter than ever before. And the mirror reacted. It pulled his reflection inside. Ryan gasped as he felt his thoughts drift into the mirror. And suddenly he saw the past. A time when galaxies fought not for power, but for survival. The Arbiters were not kings or soldiers. They were bridge-chosen beings who helped civilizations speak instead of destroy. They didn't rule, they balanced, and each of them had signed a contract, just like Ryan. Then he saw what happened when the last Arbiter refused to choose a side. It caused collapse, panic, war. The contract went into hiding, waiting for a new bearer, and now it had chosen him. When Ryan opened his eyes, he was shaking. The mirror whispered softly, "Executor, what will you choose? Rebuild the Arbiters, or burn the contract?" Before he could answer, alarms rang again outside the chamber. Explosions rocked the tunnels. Lyrian ran to him, her face pale. Asterisk, asterisk, they found us. She said, "The Unbinders followed us here." Ryan looked at the mirror, then at her. "If I rebuild the Arbiters, what happens to me?" Asterisk, asterisk, you become one, she whispered. "But you will never return to Earth, not the same way." Ryan stepped forward, hand shaking. He touched the crystal to the mirror, and light exploded from it. The ground shook, the statues lit up, and a beam of pure energy shot into the sky. All across the galaxy, Brannock, El Yari, human colonies, everyone saw the light. It marked the return of the contract and the rise of a new arbiter. The Unbinders entered the chamber too late. The mirror sealed itself. Ryan and Lyrian stood inside, the beam protected by its light, and then the final message echoed across all frequencies. across every world, every mind. Asterisk, asterisk, the seventh executor has been chosen. The arbiter rises again. The light of the arbiter beam faded slowly, and Ryan opened his eyes. The chamber was quiet now. But everything had changed. The mirror no longer moved. It had turned into a gateway. Sealed behind them like a door that only opens once, Lyrian stood beside him, her skin glowing slightly. Her eyes were wide as she looked at Ryan. "It's done," she whispered. Asterisk, asterisk, the contract has chosen. You're no longer executor. Ryan looked down at his hand. The old symbol had changed. It now glowed brighter, with new lines wrapping around his fingers and wrist. The mark of the seventh arbiter. The first in over 1,000 years, he felt different. Not stronger like a soldier, but clearer. Like something inside him had unlocked. The doubts, fear, confusion, they didn't vanish. But now they didn't stop him anymore. They walked beside him. Like shadows that finally knew their place. But there was no time to rest outside the archive. The war still burned. The Unbinders were everywhere on El Yara Prime, near Bronak strongholds, orbiting human colonies. Chaos was spreading fast, and leaders across the stars were preparing for total war. Ryan stood at the edge of the ruined temple and looked at the stars. He could feel them now, not just see them. The contract connected him to something larger, something alive. He was part of the balance now. How do we stop a galaxy from falling apart? He asked quietly. Lyrian stepped beside him. Asterisk, asterisk, you remind them who they used to be. And you don't do it alone. They returned to their stealth ship and activated the universal broadcast beacon. Ryan's message would go out to every system, linked to the old contract network Bronak, LER humans, and even races long silent. The message would be clear, short, and from the heart. Ryan stood in front of the camera, took a breath, and spoke. To the leaders of every world still listening, I am Ryan Keller. I was once a clerk. Just a man who stamped papers and watched the galaxy through a dirty window. Then one night, I signed a strange file, and that one choice brought me here. I don't claim to be a hero, but I've seen too much to stay quiet. I've walked through the ruins of dead peace. I've stood between kings who only knew war. But I've also seen hope, a Brannick princess who risked her throne, an El Yari daughter who trusted a stranger, and in myself. Something I never thought was their courage. We don't need more fire. We need reason. We need balance. We need to remember who we were before war made us forget. I stand now as an arbiter, not a god, but a guide, The contract has returned. And so has the choice to change. Asterisk, asterisk. I offer you one last counsel, a final gathering of your leaders. Come not with weapons, but with words, or let your silence be your answer. He ended the message, and the signal went out like a wave across space. Now, they would wait. Hours passed. Then messages started to return. One from the Bronak war leader, another from the El Yari high speaker. Even Earth's government sent a coded reply. They were coming, a week later, on a neutral space station orbiting a dead star. Ryan stood inside a council chamber surrounded by leaders of once warring worlds. Each one wore armor, but none raised their weapons. Lyrian stood at his side, silent but steady. Ryan looked at them all, and then spoke. Asterisk, asterisk, you don't have to like each other. You don't have to forgive each other. But if you want your children to have a future, you will listen. The talks lasted 3 days, filled with shouting, silence, and slowly. Understanding, Ryan didn't force peace. He guided it, helped it breathe again. In the end, something unbelievable happened. A treaty was signed called the Balance Accord. Not perfect, not without scars, but real. And it all started with one man who signed a piece of paper without knowing what it meant. Ryan returned to Earth only once, but he didn't stay. People treated him like a legend. But he still felt like the same man who once fell asleep at his desk. The stars still needed him, and the galaxy now had an arbiter again. Lyrian chose to stay by his side, not as a guard, but as a partner. Together, they traveled from world to world, stopping wars before they began, fixing what others broke, reminding people that peace is never weak hits, a choice. And sometimes the hardest one. And somewhere, in offices across Earth and beyond, other people stared at boring files, wondering what they really meant.